And hello, fellow raiders. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. What do we have going on in Raid Shadow Legends? Well, Versal Fusion, Fragment Fusion just ended. And I got him, I've got the fragments, but I have not summoned him. We're also in the midst of a 10x summoning event for these fine champions. I'm not pulling for those guys, but I'm sure lots of people are. We also have Ninja coming into the game. Pretty decent champion on paper, but we shall see. We won't know for a few more days when people start playing with him. As far as my account, I've been working on missions. Currently, I'm on the 1,000 Tag Team Arena. I should finish that today. And then I was working on the Spider Team, so I'll be doing that as well. And then beyond that, I'll just keep plugging along on my trek toward Romantu. Or as the topic of today's video goes, this is going to bury my loathe of campaign farming, and I think Mino Farming is far, 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 far superior. So if you are a early game player, you've only recently started or whatnot, you're probably somewhere in the campaign, and you have a campaign farmer, mine's Bellower, and you run your food through, and boom, 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 you level up your food, you level up your champions, and bada bing, bada boom, off you go. I would say for faction wars, you're doing a lot of that because you got to build out very wide rosters. You have to build a whole bunch of champions. But this becomes more applicable the higher up in your clan boss farming you get. So once you are able to beat Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare, you start accumulating a lot of brews. Yeah. And this really calls in the question of where do you get your experience points for your champion and your food. So what I would say is that the value of XP in this game decreases significantly as you start to finish your faction war stages. And once that happens, XP kind of drops to almost like a zero value for me personally. And this was true even when I hadn't quite finished my faction wars. I've basically been abusing the heck out of the sparring pit. Because the sparring pit basically gives you XP for free, right? A sparring pit and the gem mine are similar in that you make an initial investment and you have that reward for ever, right? Or it's one content creator was like, "Oh, I get infinite gems from the gem mine." It's like, yeah, you get 15 a day, and you have to manage it. Same thing with the sparring pit. You get infinite XP, but you have to manage it, right? This guy levels up, and he just kind of sits here until you come back and press the button, and boom, now you get more experience. So the value I place on XP is incredibly low. And the only time the game rewards you for this are during the training events. And for training events, I would say use brews and rank up your champions. Otherwise, I would avoid campaign farming like the plague. If you can manage your pit relatively decently, then I think you'll come to the same conclusion. If you don't manage your pit that well, you just need to keep in the habit of keeping your high level people in there so that you have a lot of time in between clicking. Currently, I have 3 hours at most, or at least. At most, I have 10 hours. So, very efficient way to get lots of XP for 0 energy. But with the campaign, you are required to run it 5,500 times a month, and I personally struggle with this because I hate running campaign. So my approach to campaign, and I've done this for probably over 6 months or so, is I run campaign on normal. You go to normal when every day they say run the campaign X number of times. I say sure. I spend 4 times 7 energy. I spend 28 energy, and I put someone in there that needs experience. So I'm only running at 4 energy per run. Most people farm brutal, which is 8 energy per run. So 4 per run times 500, 8 per run times 500. That's 2,000 versus 4,000 energy. you can save roughly 2,000 energy by running normal. And since I don't value the XP very much, I want to take the energy and do something else with it. So what do I do with it? Well, it's all about the minnow farming for me. I farm minnow probably more than anything else. And minnow farming, like campaign farming, what you want to do is you want to have a farmer. Unfortunately, the farmer has to be a little stronger than your average bear. I'm using Martyr. She's built for Clan Boss Unkillable, so she's at the 174 speed. She's got decent defense. This isn't anything terribly special for where my account is, but it doesn't have to be that powerful either. Minnow only goes to 15, so you don't have to do that high of a threshold, I should say, for how powerful your champion and gear has to be. Most people with lifesteal can do this role. I've just chosen to use Martyr in this spot as well as the Clan Boss spot, and that's kind of her role in my account. So you have your farmer, and then you have to pick someone who wants the Masteries. Well, if you saw my video last week, I pulled a Mashalad, great champion, and he is in the process of being Masteried, and I've brought him up to level 39 5-star so far. That's not going to show. That's not going to show him, but I'm only leveling him so far with the Minotaur's Lair. There he is. I'm already up to red scrolls already. I'm already a decent chunk of the way through. So if you look at how many scrolls I have there, and you look at where he is in terms of levels, he's going to max out his masteries before he reaches level 60. And to that, I would say that's a-okay, because what I end up doing is what I have these other 3 champions and they're doing. I got Brogni, I got Astrolon, I got Mordecai, and their masteries are done. I have geared them, and effectively they're done. Right? They don't need anything else because they have their masteries and they have their gear. But the only thing they are lacking is the experience. But we don't value experience very much. Because what I can do is what I'm doing right now is as I'm farming masteries for Mashalad, I am also finishing my leveling for these other 3 champions. And what's going to happen is as these champions finish their leveling, I can bring in someone else. Or you have the option. You can say, if I want this to go faster, which generally I don't really care because I auto-farm a lot of this, you can bring someone to speed up the run, or you can just give more experience to the other people. You could run Martyr and Mashaled in my account. I would just run the 2 of them. Mashaled would get more experience because he'd get half the experience then, as opposed to 20% of it is what he's going to get now. That's kind of depends on where you are and what your account is doing. And if you finish up all your masteries and you don't have to run Minotaur for a while, these 3 guys are perfect candidates to put in your sparring pit. In your sparring pit, it'll take a couple of days to finish them out, but you'll get all that experience for free. So there's 16,000 and change experience I'm gaining for 4 different champions. And when the process to level somebody from no masteries to full masteries is 140-ish runs, about 2,100, 2,200 energy-ish. And as you're running those, you can collect all that XP and some silver. You get about 1 million silver, I think, for all the runs. And there you go. So that is my technique for leveling various champions in Minotaur to complete their masteries. And you saw, Astrolon, Brogni, Mordecai being leveled up. I've started working on Renegade because Renegade's my only reset champion. So I might as well get her some masteries. I actually wanted to get her Evil Eye for Fighters 25. And I also have a few, actually my secret room My Rare Spirit Secret Room team was done this way, and I got them to 50. I got most of their masteries done, and I was a little afraid that I would need to have them be more powerful than this. But I'm going to 6-star them and do other masteries. Well, I tried it for fun at 50, and I hadn't spent their masteries yet, and I was able to get it done. And I've been lazy; I haven't come back and filled these out. But these guys are fully fleshed out. If I want to push these guys to 60 at some point, and show off or run up the score, I've done this very efficiently. Another great champion I'm working on building is Deacon. Deacon actually finished off all of his mastery scrolls, so next time there's a training event, I'll pump him up to 6-star, gear him out, and he can take one of these spots that I'm using to Mino Farm for other champions. Similar with Taragi, I'm thinking at some point, they're gonna come in with the Shadowkin Faction Wars, so Taragi's a good champion. He'll probably be on the team. And for Fane, I thought Fane I was going to use for the Unkillable Clan Boss. And turns out I haven't had that need yet. If I want to go to a 1-key, I think I need to probably use someone like Fane. And so she's, again, someone who's ready to go when I want to pull that trigger. And I'm currently working on my Schled. And a Chaka is someone I just built up of masteries in just to do spiders. So when it comes to farming, and you want to farm campaign, I would say please don't farm campaign. Go for the Minotaur Lair. There are lots of champions that can do it. I'm using Martyr just because it works for me on my account. If you don't have a Martyr, I would say you do have a Sill, because you'll get her for free. And Sill plus somebody who can nuke all the waves on the Minotaur will work wonderfully for you. And that way you have 2 people as your farmer instead of just 1. And then at some point you might go, okay, I found a champion I want to use who can solo it. So that would be my advice. Save the energy, don't run campaign, farm Minotaur like this. And then since experience is not that valuable to us, use that sparring pit, use those brews, and take that, about 2,000 energy you save every month and master your champion or farm gear, up to you. 2,000 energy will almost finish a 2,700 point tournament, which gets you an epic book. So there are efficient things you can do with that energy, regardless of whether or not you spend money on the game. But that would be my general advice to you. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below, and I'll try to answer as best I can. And until next time, happy raiding.